Okay, well, I just wiped Rocky's leg down with the hydrogen peroxide. It's smelling, you know. Got a smell to it. It does. Hey, you. It's done this before, though, and I've been able to bring it back. And I put the comfrey salve on it. I did, too. Rocky hates it when I do that, but yeah, you're a good boy. Oh, my goodness, Rocky. Okay, now. Let me see. Yeah, all right. Huh. Hey. Now, I got a package from Amazon here, and I think I know what it is. I may be wrong, but I have an idea of what it is. I do. So let me cut it open here. All right, now. Ooh, cutting the package open. Cutting the package open. There we go. Ooh. There we go now. All right, we cut the package open. Ooh, we'll put the knife up there. I think this is your food. It is. Look at that. Holy smokes, Rocky. It's your food. It's Rocky's food. Look, this is your food. This is the food that I got with my points from doing surveys. So this didn't take anything out of my bank account. And look, I got 32 boits. I got 32 boits of food. Let me turn it over here. 32 boits. In Canada, they do everything in French. There we go, 32 cans. See that? Frisky's Poultry. That's your food, Rocky. See, he knows this is his food, eh? You know that, don't you? I'm nearly out of food here. And so, I'll get this. Oh, there we go. Holy smokes. All right. Well, I have to put this up here. Rocky's rubbing on it there in order to claim it as his own. Yeah. So anyway, this would have been like, I think $31, something like that, out of my bank account. But I paid for it with the money I made doing surveys in the last month. Did surveys for a month and had enough for this, and also, not only that, but had enough for this, and also had enough, okay, hold on here, and also had enough to, everything's hard, what can I tell you? Might as well take those 2 cans out, okay? And also had enough, I had another $8 left over that I was able to put onto my, there we go, hey? That I was able to put onto my, well, into the little heating pad I've got coming for Rocky. So Rocky is making out all right doing these surveys, I'll tell you. You're making out like a bandit, Rocky. Yes, you're doing okay. Anyway, that's what's happening here at Camp Crazy lately. So there you go. There's the food. It didn't cost me any money. Well, it did in a way, because it cost me the money I earned doing surveys. But that's money I wouldn't have had if I hadn't done the surveys. And the thing is, $30 represents a tank of propane for me. And a tank of propane will heat this shack for 3 days. So basically, the money I saved buying the food alone is the equivalent of heating this place for 3 days. Yeah, hey? Yeah. 3 long winter days, Rocky. I put the salve on his leg. His leg, it's been smelling again. So that's a concern. The smell is a concern, Rocky. Yes, it is. There's nothing worse than a smelly pussy. I'll tell you that right now. Make your own joke. Yeah. Hey, don't need no smelly pussies around here, I'll tell you. Oh, I love you. You'd be the exception. You can be a smelly pussy and still be around here. But I prefer it if you weren't a smelly pussy, because that smell is a harbinger of death, and I don't want you to die. So that's the reason that I would prefer it if you weren't smelly, sweetie. Yeah, it worries me when you're smelly. All right, now. At some point, I'm going to go back to using the twig stove again, because I did gather a bunch of twigs. So at some point, I'll go back to doing that. I've got some material now to work with, at least to actually burn. I do. Got a minute here now. There we go. All right. Let's see now. Yeah. Okay. Dump all that out. We will. That way I'll have this box to use to gather more twigs, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to gather more fuel. I say, there's no fuel like an old fuel. Yeah. Here we go now. There was a joke years ago like that. About there's no fuel like an old fuel. You know. Okay. Can't remember the whole joke now. I just remember that line. Anyway, you know what they say, there's no fool like an old fool. They say there's no fuel like an old fuel. But there's a whole other thing to that joke. I can't remember now what it was though. Okay. Let's go back inside momentarily. Hi, Rocky. You're a good boy. I'm very appreciative of you. I am. You know it. You know it's true. Yeah. Yeah, you do. All right, I gotta go back out. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, we gotta look after our friends here, eh? Rocky is my best friend, so there can't be any fooling around. I gotta look after him. Anyway. Back up to the house. There's a bunch of fallen debris down there from the trees, up there from the trees, and I will get it. I will get the debris to burn in my twig stove. That is what I'll do. Oh. Ooh. Yeah. All right. It is cold. It is terrible cold. Okay now. Let me see here. There's a bunch up here. It is cold, cold, cold today. I don't like it. I don't like it one little bit. But it is what it is. It's not like I have a vote or anything. It just is what it is. Oh, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Nice old dry brittle wood. You can hear it snapping. When it snaps so easily like that, it wouldn't die. If it green is not too bad. All right. Anyway, here we go now. Just toss that one in there like that. Ooh. Yeah, anyway, this is what we do here. I get a bunch of fuel for my stove. My hands are pretty cold right now though, so I'll probably not do this too much longer, because I got to go down and tend to my stove down there, into my water that I'm boiling. I want to at least get this box filled before I anywhere. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Alrighty. Well, let me see. Well, I may do the rest of that another time. I won't worry about that right now. I'll stick to the easier stuff. There we go. No point making life harder than it has to be. No shortage of fuel with all the damage to the trees that's happening anyway. That's one thing about it. Yeah, at some point, possibly tomorrow, if the weather cooperates, if it isn't too windy or too wet, I'll go ahead and I'll start using the twig stove again. I will. Yeah, I will. Anyway, well, you can see though, already got that. Get it to settle down there. It's just from around here. There's more too closer to my camper. See here. Oh, branches and stuff here. Yeah, I talked to my good friend Terry tonight. It was good to talk to him again. Hadn't spoken to him in a while. He's been having trouble sleeping and whatnot. And he's not in good health now. He's in his 70s now, so he's feeling his age in a big way, you know. And so, you know, I know that at some point I'm going to find out that he's passed on. He's living in Cookshire, Quebec now, which is quite a piece away from here. And so I don't, you know, yeah. So, like I say, I know that I can't take it for granted anyway that he's going to be around forever. So I like to call him up and have a good conversation with him. We did that today, which was nice. And yeah, he's actually my friend that bought me the power box. We've known each other for probably 35 years. When he lived in Perth, he had a store in Perth, actually, a vacuum cleaner store. And I used to go in there to buy different things for my vacuum cleaner, my bags and belts and things like that. And anyway, we got to talking when I was in the store, and we discovered we had a lot in common in terms of our outlook on life and where we were at in life too. We were both kind of alone in the world. He had been a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and he had been disfellowshipped for speaking against holy ones. That's why he got disfellowshipped. That was the reason that they gave. Because they wanted to build a kingdom hall in Perth, the town of Smiths Falls, the congregation in Smiths Falls had built a Kingdom Hall. So then the town of Perth, their congregation figured they should have one too. And Terry disagreed with them. And he said, well, so it's, it's like keeping up with the Joneses then. The neighbor bought a Cadillac, so I got to buy a Cadillac too. And he said, doesn't this go against what we criticize churches like the Catholic Church for doing the same thing. We call it empire building, and we criticize them for it. And yet here you want to do some empire building, Anyway, and he pointed out that there weren't that many wage earners in the congregation, and it was going to be a hardship for the men who were working to maintain a Kingdom Hall, to pay all the bills connected with it and stuff. Anyway, all sensible arguments, but of course, the heart wants what the heart wants, and the elders wanted their Kingdom Hall because they wanted to have one. The Smiths Falls had one, they had to have one too. There wasn't a need for it, but it was a want, and they didn't like Terry telling them that that they shouldn't be considering building one under the circumstances. Anyway, they disfellowshipped him for that. They said that he'd spoken against holy ones because he spoke against the plan of the elders. Oh, he didn't actually speak against the elders. He spoke against their plan. But they considered that one and the same thing anyway. And so they disfellowshipped him. Read his name out to the congregation, I guess. Said that they had a cancer amongst them that had to be cut out. And that cancer's name is, they said his name. And that's what they did. They disfellowshipped him. Anyway, he had been disillusioned with it for a while. And he had decided that to look into things and to start studying the history of the organization, and also to read other Bibles other than the Jehovah's Witness Bible, which is the only Bible they're allowed to read. And he found out that there were a bunch of things that weren't just right, So he was ready to leave anyway. That was just kind of the final thing, I guess. This was the thing with the new Kingdom Hall. Anyway, it was one of those deals where he was getting ready to quit, so they fired him. That's what it was, really. But, of course, he was kind of alone then because, they're not really allowed to associate with people from outside of their congregation, outside of the Jehovah's Witness organization. So I put him in a position where when he left there, practically everybody he knew had stopped talking to him. And so, yeah, it was kind of tough on him anyway. And I was in a similar situation in Perth. I was pretty much on the outs with the town of Perth as a whole. So, again, I wasn't, I was kind of alone too. Anyway, we become great friends. I used to go over there for dinner with him and his wife and his stepson, and we used to talk a lot about spiritual things, about politics and different things like that. We were pretty much of a like mind on all that stuff. Not that we never disagreed, but we never disagreed in an ugly way, We were always very respectful of each other in our disagreements. And so, anyway, he moved away to Quebec, which is where he came from originally. He was an English speaker, but he grew up around Montreal area. And he moved back there because his wife was French. And his wife, she didn't like being in Ontario at all. It was like being in a foreign country to her. Quebec is quite different, than the rest of the country. And she found it very difficult to be in Ontario. And so they moved away. And, so, like I say, they moved away. And I gradually lost touch with him. It ended up, his wife left him. She took up with another man, left him. And he went into a downward spiral then for a few years. And like I say, I'd lost touch with him. Every so often I'd try to find him on the internet to try and touch base with him, but nothing ever seemed to come up. And then I got thinking one day, well, maybe the guy's dead, you know. Maybe that's why I can't find him. So I got looking for obituaries. And when I punched his name in with obituaries, his Facebook profile came up. So anyway, I checked Facebook before and nothing ever came up, but that time it did. And so I sent him a message anyway, and we got to talking, and so we were kind of reconnected as friends anyway. And I haven't seen him in person in a long time, like in decades, but we talk on the phone quite regularly. So that was kind of nice to have a conversation with him today. Anyway, and I appreciate it all the more because I know that his time is growing short. With the health problems he has and with his age, you know, his time is growing short. So, like I say, I appreciate those conversations anyway with an old friend, you know. Yeah, I'm doing the water thing here. And speaking of old friends, let's go inside here and see an old friend named Rocky. Hey, Rocky. Hey. Who isn't exactly on his last legs, but he's definitely got a bad leg due to a snake bite. Yeah. Anyway, this is just a little bit of what we do here. I apologize for the constant nose blowing, but if you were here, you'd understand. It's pretty bad. And it gets that I can barely breathe, so I have to periodically do that. Oh my goodness, Rocky. Hey. All right, let me put this down here. Yeah, you're a good boy. Yeah, I'm quite cold though, I'll tell you. It is cold out there. But yeah, anyway, that's what's going on. I reckon Rocky and I will see you all later. I'm going to turn off the camera now and just focus. Rather than on doing bad camera work, I'll focus on my chores and get them done. It's starting to get dark now too, so time is of the essence. I don't really want to be out there freezing in the dark and unable to see what I'm doing. But I do have to wait for the water to boil though. Alright, that's it. Hey, bye for now.